Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brianna's Discuss Anime, a Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Palinger.
Ignore me. I've just got this big stick that I'm bouncing on. It's like a pogo stick. It's good. I'm having fun.
Oh, so much fun.
A System of a Down reference there?
Pogo, 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 bounce!
It's a reference. I won't say what kind of reference, but it's a reference.
Also with us, Ryan Stokely.
That's me. It's your boy.
So, Brandon, did you hear they may or may not be ruining Odd Taxi?
We're talking about the movie they have announced, right?
Yes.
From my understanding, it's probably going to be an
Compilation.
an overview essentially of the main story with little bits added at the end for after the plot. So as far as new material goes, it sounds like there's not going to be much.
So, will whatever they add ruin the whole effect of the story?
Potentially, but I find it, considering what they've already set up, I find it hard to think of a way that they could really fuck it up. And it's all the same people, doing the movie, so...
Yeah. And I heard that they might jumble the story around a little bit to make it a little bit more chronological sense, since
It could work.
parts of the series took place slightly out of order.
Well, yeah, because we bounced around from certain characters' perspectives to others, and you had to, reel back to when things happened. Like, the one character's happened years prior to, the events of Odd Taxi itself. Like, his whole
Yeah.
problem started years back.
Huh. I wonder how they'll give his backstory within the context of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
His backstory took a whole episode to set up.
Yeah, they'll have to snip it down.
So I'd be interested to watch that when it gets sub-dubbed.
I am curious about it, yes.
Yeah, since we recorded this right after Porco Rosso, due to events that happened in December, we decided to do 2 in 1 day, so...
Minimal banter here.
Yeah. Beforehand, we were just talking about what games we picked up during the Steam Winter Sale, and Ryan mentioned he picked up a Grand Theft Horse that looks mighty interesting.
Yes, this is very fun.
It seems funny. As soon as it goes on sale, I'm probably going to look into getting it.
And the intro looks like it took place at a Ren Fair.
It literally looks like somebody's YouTube parody video.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of the game, there's like a freaking really cool beat. Like, you kind of hear it in the video I showed you. But like, you're riding through on your horse and you just hear like early 90s style rap, but it's like medieval style.
Yeah, it's like using medieval instruments for it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Are they rapping in Old English?
No. That's what makes it funny. They're just, and it's like 3 dudes with lutes and stuff, and then one guy just rapping.
It would have been hilarious if he was rapping in Old English.
Also, to change the music, you have to find a bard on the road, and then pay them or smack them.
Or smack.
Yeah, to turn the music off.
What?
Yeah.
There's no menu option?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
and what's it called?
Rustler.
Yes, Wrestler Grand Theft Horse, which looks like something I might want to get into. But oh,
Yeah, it's the whole point of the game is you're a scumbag, and you want to become rich, and the king is having a tournament to you marry his daughter, and you own a piece of the land. So you're basically just being a scumbag to get into this tournament. It's
um,
pretty funny.
we picked up River City Girls for the gaming portion of our channel, Brandon.
That's gonna be fun.
Oh, yes. And I'm probably going to pick the Sundari character.
Of course you are.
Because you say there's a Sundari and a kind of borderline psychopath?
Psychopath slash airhead, sure. We can go with that.
Okay, so pick your flavor of tough girl. I did see that the Geels Marble Run game dropped in early access. I got it, and it's still minimum now, but all, I believe, 30 teams are in it, along with some.
The guy who has that YouTube channel that does the Olympics, the
Yeah,
Marvel
yeah.
Olympics, has a game now.
Yep.
Oh, cool, I guess.
Yeah, and I think like a Kickstarter thing was make your own team because they have 8 teams I've never heard of, and they don't have like voice announcements for the team yet. So,
Okay.
maybe when that gets out of early access, we could do something with it, like because I'm planning on doing at least something with it by myself. Maybe I'm going to have my sister do an episode. Maybe like us do an episode. It's just on the back burner in my mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
I also picked up Escape Simulator, and because I could have sworn, we were talking about it during the sale, Brandon, you says it would be 2-player.
Again, I don't remember. We talked about it like right at the start, so I don't remember for sure.
Let me open up the Steam page on it. Yep, co-op, multiplayer.
Alright, well then I'll have to get it at some point.
Yep, so look forward to those sometime in the next year on our FIBA Gaming Twitch channel or here on YouTube when I make the streams into videos. Yay!
You want the manga or the anime? Make your choice.
Wait, which one would be the manga at that point? Like the initial stream would be the manga?
I would think.
Okay. Huh. Interesting way of thinking about it. But something else that's also interesting, today's anime, which is another movie. Okay, Ryan, Howl's Moving Castle.
I've definitely watched it, but I don't remember at all what it's about.
Do you want to take a guess of what do you remember?
I just know there's a castle in the sky. Also a good Cascada song.
Also a good Miyazaki movie.
Yes. That's what we're talking about.
No.
No?
Howl's Moving
You've got a
Castle.
separate movie in your head right now,
Damn,
sir.
dude. Wait. Hold on. Let me. Alright.
I think we fucked them up.
Yeah, so Howl's Moving Castle it follows a girl, right? A little girl?
If by little you mean like 17 or so?
Yeah, it follows a girl, yeah.
Okay.
Trying to remember. And there's like a boy on the castle or something?
Nope.
No? Okay.
More or less same age.
Alright.
I wouldn't say a boy.
Yeah, well, you know, a kid, whatever. To me, a freaking boy, if they're like I was 17 or whatever.
All right, fine. I won't argue with you.
But yeah,
Just saying.
so there's a friend. Yeah, that's all I remember though. There's a girl and a boy that are friends
Oh,
or love interests, and
Uh,
that's about it.
you might be thinking of Castle in the Sky.
Okay, so
Pretty sure
maybe-
that's what he was thinking of.
Yes.
So maybe I never did see it.
So, do you want to take a guess on Howl's Moving Castle?
I'm just gonna guess Nazi werewolves.
You would be wrong.
It's just like Nazis in the sky, but they're also werewolves. But it's called Howl's Moving Castle because they howl.
This sounds like a trauma film.
I mean, I need to ask. Did the Beatles do the song for them? You know,
The beat.
Nazis in the skies with diamonds.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nazis
the whole-
in the sky with diamonds.
They did the whole soundtrack for
They
it.
did the whole section.
when did Castle in the Sky come out?
I was one of the first ones, from what I can remember. I don't know if it was technically Ghibli at that point, but it was definitely Miyazaki.
It was Ghibli, and it was 1986.
Nausicaa's the one I'm thinking of then. Nausicaa was the one that might have been before it was Ghibli.
But Howl's Moving Castle was a 2004 film
Mm-hmm.
based.
Oh, really? That's when it came out?
Yep, based
Oh wow, that is like way sooner than I thought.
based on a British young adult novel.
That part shocked me when I realized that. I didn't know that until a couple of days ago, and I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah, and I was reading about the other two, and they're in the same universe but loosely connected to Howl.
Okay.
So I may have to read those novels now,
Yeah.
or at least look into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What? What?
What?
The movie was influenced by Miyazaki's oppression to the United States invasion of Iraq in 2003.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I'm not surprised given the political backlash from that thing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you start, especially when you start digging into the background as to what happened and how it happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like the anti-war messages of this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think Castle in the Sky had a magical pendant that could track down a floating castle. The castle
Yeah.
in this movie is more like some mechanical monster that can teleport through reality?
It's a
Okay.
mecha.
Oh, it's kind of like the Castle and Crawl, space opera from the 70s, 70s, early 80s. I have it on Blu-ray. We should watch it sometimes if we do we ever watch a movie again.
Yeah, which I will still need a title card for, Brandon.
Oh right, I had completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, put that on the middle burner.
Of things
Yeah.
to do because there's so much
Yeah, I
other
know.
shit.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened past couple months.
Yeah, but this movie is more Victorian England, kind of.
Yeah, definitely Victorian.
Yeah, follows a young hat maker named Sophie, who really has no faith in her looks And she's
She has definitely got no self-esteem. That's really what it comes down to.
self-esteem. I couldn't think of the word. My mind was just blanking. Yeah, so she goes to see her sister, but winds up being flirted with by two guards and is rescued by this mysterious, tall, blonde man who is being chased by tar monsters.
Whoa, like oozes, but made of tar.
Yes, one of the. I think they may have been CGI at one point.
I didn't notice CGI at all.
I thought it was one of those movies that have like that almost 3D-ish at some parts.
The castle, I think, does, but I don't think anything else. Besides, well, maybe like the planes and stuff in there. But I don't think anything aside from like some of the machinery does have it. The rest of it seems like it's regular hand done animation.
Okay, yeah, I could be wrong about the blobs being CGI because they just seem too flowing at some points. But then again, it's Studio Ghibli. They're amazing with art, so. Yeah, so what did you think of the tar monsters?
I mean, they're tar monsters. I don't have really any feelings one way or the other on them.
So, this mysterious man and Sophie escape with magic. They do a big leap and are walking on air.
Don't look down.
Nope. So, they eventually get to where Sophie was going, and this magical wizard guy says, like, hey, I'm gonna leave these guys off now, you stay safe. And everybody's like, oh, you met a wizard, was it Howl? Oh no, Howl only eats beautiful women. He wouldn't
No,
even
he said his name was Harry.
He wouldn't even get near me. And then she gets back to the hat shop, and this blob of a woman comes in.
The Witch of the Wastes.
Who I have, like, theories about in the second half of it.
Okay, interesting.
And she says, like, oh, give my regards to Howl. And, like, passes through Sophie, ghost style, and turns Sophie into an 80, 90-year-old woman.
Let's also point out that her age like varies wildly from scene to scene as to how old she actually is.
Yeah? It's like sometimes she'll be like a teenager with gray hair.
Yeah, and there's points where I'm just like not 100% sure, right, of if it's intentional or not, or if it's just like we didn't have time to draw like the wrinkly aged parts.
Yeah, now that I'm looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, she seems like younger at some points.
It seems inconsistent. Now, granted, her self-esteem issue seems to be connected to like how old she looks, or at least I think that's what's implied. So maybe it's not as unintentional as it first seems. I don't know. It would take a rewatch to know for sure.
You know, you do have a point with that, because that's what I was thinking it was tied to.
Yeah. So it could be that like she is looking more like her younger self when she's more confident. But again, I can't say for certain without another look through, watch through to see.
I know I saw Howl more recently than Castle in the Sky and Porco Rosso, but it was probably not by much.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been a good 10 years since I saw this last.
I've seen Howl more recently, but I don't know if I've ever watched it all the way through. At least not for a long ass time.
Oh, so two Ghibli movies you're not that super familiar with.
There's been plenty of times I've started it, and it's been with like, oh, we're doing a watch party with friends, but then the party ends before we can finish the movie.
Oh.
So that's just kind of been the situation when it comes to Howl, at least.
Yeah.
I may have watched it back when they were doing like Month of Miyazaki on like Toonami and stuff, or Cartoon Network,
Hmm.
but I can't say about any others any more recently than that.
So Sophie goes after the Witch of the Waste to try to reverse the curse, and because she's an old woman, she's starts slowing down. She's like, "Oh, I really need a cane." She finds this stick and it's like, "Oh, perfect." Winds up to be a scarecrow pole with a living scarecrow that just bounces around. What did you think of Turnip Head?
Turnip head?
Yes.
She just calls him Turnip in the subs.
Okay.
Okay.
In the English dub, his name is Turnip Head.
Well, he's a scarecrow, but his head's made out of a turnip, so there you go. That's how it's.
Okay.
I like him better before the ending. Let me put it that way. I'll say that. That's what I'll say.
Okay. I did like it how he kept turning up somehow.
Yeah.
Like, he had some magic on him. Well, of course, he's cursed because he's a scarecrow with a turnip for a head, but he also seems to have some kind of magical power to find Sophie in wherever she is.
But don't put him near a bush. He'll get stuck.
Yeah, always upside down somehow. And I just found like her reaction to Turnip Head and finding out he was sentient. It's like, oh, look at you. You must be cursed too.
Of course.
Because supposedly curses are a thing in this movie. It's like out of the 5, 6 main characters, 4 of them have a curse on them.
Yep.
Really? Are, is it? Are they trying to get the curses like uncursed?
Well, that was Sophie's original intention before she ran into this castle for
Okay.
safety from the elements that just so happens to be owned by Howl, who is this supposedly monstrous wizard that eats young women.
See, like, part of the problem I have is they don't exactly explain where that came from. Because everything we see speaks nothing of that.
And it just so happens that the blonde guy who saved her earlier was Howl. So Howl isn't as monstrous, demonic, evil as the stories make him seem. But he does have a bit of a curse on him as well.
Is it a curse?
Or is that like one of his powers to change into the bird?
It's a power. The question though is it a curse? Because by the midpoint or near the end of the movie, it kind of seems like it was a contract, more or less.
Between Calcifer and him?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, because it
Oh.
seems like it was done willingly. It wasn't something that like somebody cast on him.
Oh. Hmm. And I do like Calcifer, the living fireplace.
The living fireplace / demon, or whatever he is, because it's not very clear.
Yeah, he always claims to be a powerful fire demon, but he only gets really powerful once people put more wood on him.
It's also unclear because there's a point where it seems like he just straight up came from the sky. Not a place you would expect a demon to come from. Like, falling star kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah? And
Fall, is that
go
like a
ahead,
fallen
sorry.
angel or something, or
Don't know. Look, he could be a Cthulhu thing. I don't know.
And the thing is, even though he's a fire demon, he has like elements of normal fire, like he needs wood to grow bigger, rain can put him out.
And he's essentially tied to Howl. Like if kind of like Piccolo and Kami from Dragon Ball. If Calcifer dies, so does Howl, and vice versa.
Yeah, and somehow Calcifer is tied to the castle?
Yeah, I assume that's the fireplace being like a some kind of central thing for him.
Yeah, because at one point he's removed from the castle and the castle falls apart.
Yep.
And it's not, we keep saying castle, but it's this like mechanical building on legs that walks around.
Yep.
Let
It's got
me
a face on it and everything.
Let me see if I can find a picture of the castle.
So the main part of the story is like, oh cool, there's gonna be a big war going on, and the leader of one of the warring countries is like, oh bring Hal here, we wanna talk with him, see if he'll side with us, and turns out that person asking is his original teacher. Sophie's like, Hal's like, I'm too afraid to go. You go in my place. I'll follow in the shadows to help you, but I don't want to face her. So Sophie goes in, does the business, claims to be, because she's fucking 89 or whatever, that she's Howl's mother. And then as she gets more self-confident, she's like regressing in age as she's talking to the teacher. And then as soon as that self-confidence falters, she flies back into being an 89-year-old woman again.
Yeah. And the Witch of the Waste is also summoned, and it winds up to be a trap to like suck all their magic. And spoilers ahead, but at that point, is the witch senile? Because she's like, oh, what a pretty fire. Oh, Howl, what a pretty man.
It seems like it, yes.
Because
now,
because at one point near the end, I was thinking, wait, is this all an act? Because she seemed to snap out of it at one point.
here's what I'm wondering, right? And maybe like the original book would be a little more clear on this.
Mm-hmm.
She's called the Witch of the Wastes. So I'm wondering if she regains at least some of her power when she's exposed to like toxins and stuff.
Oh.
Like it seems like when she starts smoking that cigar at one point, she starts getting more aware of everything. Like she's even more, everything's more clear to her, it feels like.
Yeah. I didn't connect the smoking of the cigar to be more mentally aware. I was just
well, prior to that too, right? Like you see her walking around and stuff, and she obviously doesn't look like her regular self from before when she had the magic, but once she starts puffing on that cigar, you can see like her fingernails have grown back and they're painted red again.
I did not notice that.
Yep, they came back. And I'm like, oh shit, is she like recovering herself with that?
Oh. And her deal is she was an ex-lover of Howl.
Okay.
Quote unquote lover. It seems like she was someone that was more closer to like a yandere, where she's like pursuing Howl, but Howl's just like, I'm too scared. I don't like this lady.
And she's like, you must date me, Howl.
Essentially, yeah. She wants his pretty little hearts for herself.
Yeah, so the movie deals with Sophie trying to gain more self-confidence through actions and through Howl as she slowly falls in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
I did find the fact that they could teleport where the castle was with a dial on the wall. Because, there's one village, well, not really, one town they were in, another color sent them to another town.
Yep.
One was the castle as a mechanical thing, and the black gate only Howl can go to. Because it seems to lead to some kind of void area.
It seems like whatever it is, it seems like it's taking him to wherever the war is being fought.
Okay.
Because we see him getting attacked by demons before he comes back through the door at one point.
Ah,
Like
okay.
the flying slime men. At first, what I thought it was like maybe he's seeing a bit of the future there, like it's a portal into like the future in a few months' time or something.
Oh, okay.
And that's what's informing him of like, I don't want to be a part of this or whatever. But maybe it's not. Maybe it is quite literally the war hasn't made it here yet, but this is where it's happening.
And Howl remodels the house.
Yeah, and for some reason it's just Sophie's Hatter area again, like the building.
And the doors have changed where they lead to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the English dub, granted it was done a whole lot later and a whole lot more professionally than the Japan Airlines Porco Rosso dub, I found all the voice acting in here to be really good.
Most of it is for that time period. The only one I've really heard bad things about so far has been the Ponyo one.
Okay.
Most of the time, whoever does the Ghibli dubs does it really well. I think it's usually Disney.
Yeah.
Are these on Disney Plus?
Maybe?
I went to GoGo Anime.
I found them in a couple different places.
Yeah. Ryan, any questions about this movie?
No, you guys kind of explained a lot of it.
So
Like,
let's cover.
basically follows the girl and Howl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is sounding less and less familiar to you because this is not Castle in the Sky.
Yeah.
So let's explain a little bit of like the ending.
Oh, and
Okay.
one thing, I did find it kind of funny that Sophie was just walking through the castle gates, and Howl said, like, hey, I'll be following you right behind you, except you won't know it's me. This random dog shows up, barks, and just follows Sophie around, and it's like, oh, that must be Howl. Turns out, nope, that's not Howl.
Yeah, she had to carry up this heavy ass dog up a shit ton of stairs as an old lady.
Oh my god.
And the Wizard of the Waste, not Wizard, Witch of the Waste is also there climbing the stairs, and it's like, oh, boy, these are live stairs. Somebody help me. Oh, I could help you if you could only reverse this curse. Oh, I don't do that. I only make curses. Oh, well, fine. Suit yourself.
Oh god. So yeah, let's cover this ending that I'm not a big fan of.
Okay.
So the ending starts off with like Sophie being like, "We gotta break Howl's curse. It's so horrible," and it's like, all right, if you guys can't do this, I'm gonna do it. And it ends with like the witch trying to steal Calcifer because we found out Calcifer actually at the heart of his flame is quite literally Howl's heart. So the Witch of the Waste tries to grab that. She tries to save the witch because the witch starts lighting herself on fire because Calcifer is literally a living flame, and nearly puts it out. And in doing so, kind of like breaks what little bit of the house is left, and she falls off into like a little ravine. And she's like, "Oh fuck, I fucked up." And this part I do like. I like the immediate realization of like, I understand why you did this, and you immediately realize how much you fucked up.
Yeah, because this is after they removed Calcifer from the castle, and the castle just crumbled. So they put Calcifer back into the castle, and it kind of sort of reformed into a much more messy version of itself.
Yeah, it's like a little baby tool shed size at this point.
And I'm just wondering, why did they remove Calcifer? I think
I believe the idea was that the house is big and the war has gotten so close that they're going to find the castle.
ah
So we're going to remove Calcifer, so the castle will crumble and it'll just look like a junk heap. And then they're like, well, we gotta go get to Howl, so we're gonna put Calcifer back and get like hopefully at least something to get us there quickly.
so that they would see the junk heap, look at the junk heap, find nothing, and be distracted for like a few hours.
Yeah, like either that or just be like, it's a junk heap, it doesn't matter. It's not the castle we were looking for.
We, we're sorry, Sophie. Howl is in another castle.
Yep. So they fall down. Sophie realizes her mistake, and then she got a ring at one point that would pinpoint the way. I think it said to Calcifer, right? The first
Yes.
one, right? Yeah. So it would get her back to Calcifer after they escaped from Howl's teacher or whatever that was trying to capture them before. So this time it's pointing to Howl, and it points toward what was left of the door that can be a portal to other areas. Turns out it takes her into the memories of Howl, I guess, of his childhood in the past.
Yeah.
And we see him, like, getting Calcifer, who fell from the sky, eating him, essentially, and then Calcifer coming out with Howl's heart from out of his chest, and Howl holding Calcifer in his hands. In the meantime, Sophie's being, like, sucked back into the present as she sees that happen. And she screams out, like, Howl, wait for me! And as soon as she exits, there's Howl looking dead-eyed as a monster, essentially.
Since Howl can change into, like, some raven-esque bird.
Like a giant, weird bird form, yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
with his face on it.
And when Sophie finds him in the remnants of the castle memory area, he's like this huge, monstrous, like massive feathers and whatnot.
So he takes them, she says, take me back to Calcifer. He brings them back to the little bit of like walking wood at this point that is the house and the dead, like the barely burning heart. She manages to get the heart from the witch by convincing her, like, I really want it. It's mine. Please give it. Which, you know, part of the problem is it doesn't make sense given the way the witch acts normally. She puts the heart back in. Calcifer is freed from whatever contract he had and flies off, and Howl is revived from being like a corpse almost. And then apparently Turnip Head comes up and she kisses him and he becomes a prince.
Yeah, like the kiss of your true love will undo the curse, except Sophie doesn't love him.
It's not only that, it's the convenience that this is specifically the prince that's at war with Suleiman and that group or that country or whatever. And I'm just sitting there like, that seems extremely convenient that this turnip is in fact just this prince that could happen to end the war.
Yeah.
Seems crazily convenient without having an actual reason for him being that.
Yeah, and it's
or
like
any kind of, like, you know, any kind of foreshadowing that that's the case.
And there was, well, he did talk in turnip form, but I didn't even have any inkling of the fact that Turnip Head had any crush on Sophie.
Yep.
Because, like, at most points, their interaction was between old woman Sophie and Turnip Head.
Yep. It's one of those things where I'm just sitting there like, this just feels like the big Deus Ex Machina to make the movie end.
Yeah, and for some reason, Sophie keeps her gray hair,
Yeah, her hair stays silver,
which
even though she's back to being young.
which Howl liked because I think in the English dub he said like, Sophie, look at you, your hair's as bright as the moonlight, and she just
He says
smiles.
something, but I don't think it's quite that line exactly, but something close to that.
Yeah, I could be a little bit off with the English dub, but like your hair shines like the moonlight, or
hmm
yeah, but
Um,
I'm just like, wait, so you're going to keep your silver hair? Are you still kind of cursed that you
well,
need self-confidence to stay young?
and the dog apparently can contact Suleiman at any point because we see her looking at a crystal ball with the dog in it, and she's like, "Oh, look, it's a happy ending. Guess I'll have to call off the war then." And I'm just sitting there like, you could have done it. Why didn't you do this the whole time? What was the point of the war? Why was there a war to begin with? Like, if you're just gonna call it off like that, when
Yeah.
we never even saw what the other side was about. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think we ever saw the airships for the other side. It was only ever Suleiman's ships.
And wasn't because Howl had two identities. Was one for the other side?
Maybe? But it seemed like Suleiman had sent her soldiers to both buildings anyway.
Oh, so those were because he used like two identities. Like we need the Wizard Pendragon and I forget the other one.
I don't recall it off the top of my head, but yeah, no, he was using two different identities. But I mean, he was also just doing it in general to make money and it make money. In which case, I'm just sitting here also like, why does he need money? He has all this magic. He just make things happen.
Yeah, like help out people. And like the little boy apprentice with like the hood
Old man
and
disguise.
yeah, like the random disguise where he like gets a magic beard and like goes out as like supposedly like Howl's friend or like fellow magician.
Secretary. I don't know if he secretary maybe essentially assistant.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. Either way, it's one of those things where I'm just sitting here just like this feels wrapped up way too easily, and there's a lot of background things in the world that with this ending don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You kind of can make up your own as you go along.
Like I'm just sitting there like, why is there even a war to begin with? I don't know if we've even seen the other side.
Oh,
I don't know.
um,
It's weird.
I'm not too sure if he has a other bit of acting that Disney chose him, but Markle, the little boy, was voiced by a kid.
Okay.
Oh.
So I kind of like the fact that they have kids to voice kids, but like you were saying during Porco Rosso, that if they get kids just because they're X company and X company employs a family member or friend of theirs, why include this person when they have no voice acting skills?
Mm-hmm.
But I did find that Josh Hutcherson did a good job voicing Markle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the Japanese dub for. Oh, yep. Japanese dub is the same thing with Rinosuke Kamaki, who is about the same age as Josh Hutcherson. So they also had a kid to voice a kid. So good for them.
Yeah. Worked out.
Wow, Rinosuke was acting for about 25 years, and he's currently 28,
Oh wow.
known as a child prodigy in the acting world. Huh. well, amazing for him that he's been acting since 3 and is good at it.
Yeah.
Was he still doing it?
According to Wikipedia, he is still doing stuff. Like, he was, I've heard of his anime, like, X-Holic.
Okay.
XXX-Holic.
You sure that's not a hentai?
No, I've heard of
Sounds
it.
likely.
Yep, it's a clamp series, so, like 3 lowercase x's and then holic, if you ever seen that.
Nope.
Okay.
That's the first time hearing of it.
On certain websites, I've seen that.
Oh, huh. He voiced adult Shinji in the final Rebuild of Ava movie.
Huh.
Interesting. So enough about him. Back to Howl. Anything that you really want to hear us mention, Ryan?
I mean, there weren't any other main characters, just called.
Not really.
Sophie, Markle, Howl, Calcifer, the Witch of the Waste, kind of near the end.
I would also like to point out that, like, why was Howl not just killing the leaders? Why was he constantly just attacking the machinery, dropping the bombs?
Because I would say Howl is, well, not a pacifist, but I think, like, he still has humanity left in him, and if he would have went full beast, maybe he would have become more of a killer.
My point is, though, like, you're attacking what is essentially a finger when you want to go for the head if you want to stop the war, right? Even if it wasn't killing, it could have just straight up been, like, capturing and, like, holding hostage and being like, hey, knock it off. I got this guy. I'll release him if you knock it off.
Wait. Side street, just complete turn. Do you remember Freakazoid and the police officer in that?
Oscar, yeah.
But supposedly, he had the superpower to make anybody stop what they were doing by saying, knock it off.
It's...
Including the Animaniacs in one comic.
Nah.
I would just love to, well, and Asner's gone now, but I would just love to see, like, the whole side characters of Steven Spielberg, like Freakazoid, Tiny Toons, coexist in one world. But I would say I enjoyed Howl's Moving Castle more than Porco Rosso.
Again, I'm gonna sit here and say I like about 98% of Howl's Moving Castle. There's 2% where I'm looking at the holes being like, I wish I could plug these.
I know I keep bringing this up a lot, but plot holes don't seem to affect me as much as they do to you, because, like, to me, unless it's, like, something big and glaring, like, for example, the end of the new Spider-Man movie, that plot hole, I'm just like, oh my god, this is noticeable.
I haven't
See,
watched it yet.
that's the problem, right? To me, this is really noticeable because it means the entire conflict of the show, or in this case, the movie, there's no reason for it.
Ryan, you should see No Way Home. It is really good. It is really good.
Except the plot hole.
Yes, except the ending. the ending plot hole makes me go, but wait, what about this? But
Like that's the problem, though, right? Here's my biggest issue, and especially in, like, for example, in Howls like this, where I'm like, if there's literally no justification for the war that's happening, why is there even a problem right now? It's the same problem I would have with, oh, it was all a dream at the end, so why did I sit here and watch this movie?
One of those, it was all a dream cop-outs, that would make me mad, but if there's like...
Your big set piece is that there's a war going on. You're telling me there was never any reason for it? I'm sorry, I need a reason for there to be a war. It's your main center point in this plot.
Yeah, because it seems, even though they keep mentioning the war, it seems that, like, part of it, the war gets pushed to the side for, like, Sophie's character building, which isn't a bad thing.
Well, it's even that, and the point that I made earlier of, like, it feels like we never see the other side. It's just Suleiman bombing a bunch of cities for no reason.
I thought you saw the other side at one point as, like, the planes were flying at each other, but I could be wrong.
Not that I'm remembering.
Then I could be wrong, and I probably am.
Like, is the idea that it's just a war of conquest? But then why, when the prince is back, does that make a difference all of a sudden?
Huh.
Like, it's one of those things where I'm sitting down, this is your focal point as a setting. Why is there no actual reason for it?
Yeah?
Like, to me, it's almost as bad as that dream cop-out.
I thought the use of CGI, even though Miyazaki is really against CGI, was... It seemed to, like... How do I want to phrase this? It just seemed the castle should look different, because it is, like, this magical thing in a world where everything isn't. It's like... I can't quite put into words right now.
I mean, at the very least, right? You could argue that the slime people are magic. You can argue that we see Suleiman, who's essentially in charge of the main war faction, is magical. Unlike in Porco Rosso, where it's just he's got a pig head for some reason.
Yep. I did find the castle looking cool. I did post it in the chat, by the way.
Mm-hmm. You picked up the one at the end where it's flying in the sky. Too,
Yeah, yeah. That's the only one I could find.
But yeah, no. Again, it's one of those things. I'm just sitting here like 98% is great. I want to plug the 2% of holes that are in here because it's real annoying. Oh, that's my bit on it.
So, okay. I forgot to ask you at the end of Porco Rosso. Would you have any interest in watching either of these movies, Ryan?
Yeah, honestly, they're kind of classics.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to mention about Porco Rosso. I mentioned this to you, Brandon, before, but let me bring this up since we mentioned it again. Porco Rosso felt a lot longer than it actually was.
Oh yeah,
did you feel that way, Brandon, or no?
No.
Okay, because I remember when I was looking, I'm like, I feel like I've been sitting here for an hour, and only 20 minutes had gone by on the movie's timeline.
Not saying it's boring, it just seems to pass slower.
Yeah, it felt like a lot more happened than what had actually happened.
We mentioned Porco Rosso was about an hour and a half. Howl's Moving Castle is closer to the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
Okay. I'll have to put these on my list of movies to watch.
I do know Miyazaki is making another movie due out.
I'm gonna retire, but I'm not actually gonna retire.
Yeah, I think his initial plan was to have it done by the 2020 Olympics, but then COVID happened, so last I heard, it's going to be due out sometime this year, but I'm not sure. I know it's a little bit more set in reality than magic.
Do we have any idea what the plot is?
I think it may be biography-esque, but heavily embellished.
Okay.
How do you live based on a 1937 novel. Yeah, it does. Wikipedia does not have any release date for it as of now, but last I heard, 2022.
Okay.
Um, are we going to do the solo thing next, Brandon, or are we going to push that off for a little bit?
I kind of figured that was the plan. Do the solo thing.
Next?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about this, Orion. You're not going to be part of it.
Yeah,
No,
since
no worries. Take a break.
since we will
Settle in.
be since we will be going back to an anime we covered last year, and
Taking
how
a look at season 2 of that.
yep, and
Make
how
sure you teased that before when we actually did it.
bad it gets.
How bad it goes.
Yep, 11 episodes, but supposedly it's a disaster that ruins everything. Ruins everything.
It's going to be Darling in the Franks, but on a whole nother level, I think.
I'm looking forward to it, but just to see how off the rails it goes. I don't know if I'll be able to like it in the end.
We'll find out. You're way generous about a lot of this stuff.
I am. I admit that I am very generous when it comes to bad movies and things because maybe it's because I can overlook bad things and, enjoy so bad it's good movies.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that makes me just overlook minor things, but large plot holes that pop up in the final 10 minutes of the movie.
Someone's very mad about a recent movie, I can tell. I've not heard you rave about something like this in a long time.
No, but if certain events would not have played out in the final 5 minutes of the movie, I'll be like, okay, things are good, but things happen, and I'm like, how?
Things happen, and how do they happen? But they happen, though.
Yes, things happen, and how do? But enough me just ranting about Spider. Multiverse of Madness better clear this shit up. Oh my god. So until we cover anime again, we will catch everybody then.
I love how I'm not the one rambling like a madman this time.